a full-scale military operation.
As I note all this, there is a report that I'm looking at from Reuters that a Palestinian group has claimed responsibility for the New York World Trade Center plane attacks. Abu Dhabi television is reporting that it received a call from the Democratic Front for the Liberation of Palestine, claiming responsibility for crashing 2 planes into the World Trade Center buildings. And Qatar-based Al Jazeera television is saying that FBI sources are saying that one of the 2 aircraft had been hijacked. Mr. Jenkins, are you still with me?
You have a full-scale military operation.
What's this Democratic Front for the Liberation of Palestine?
This is a Palestinian group whose history goes back into the late 60s. It's the Democratic Front for the Liberation of Palestine. Certainly, they have not carried out anything on this scale. No terrorist group has carried out anything on this scale.
Unbelievable. Unbelievable. Unbelievable.
You have a full-scale military operation. And the difficulty is, of course, with terrorism, you're fighting phantoms.
Unbelievable.
In many, many years. However, I'd be very, very cautious at this point about any telephone claims. Once these events occur, what we've seen is 2 things. Number one, in many cases, there is no credible claim of responsibility from the actual perpetrators. And second, there are often many false claims by groups once information like this goes out.
Unbelievable.
Infrastructure that is necessary to support this does suggest that you have a full-scale military operation. And the difficulty is, of course, with terrorism, you're fighting phantoms. You have a full-scale military operation.
But he went on to say that he believed Osama bin Laden could not have been responsible for such a complex act of terrorism.
Unbelievable.
You have a full-scale military operation.
But he went on to say that he believed Osama bin Laden could not have been responsible for such a complex act of terrorism.
Unbelievable.
You have a full-scale military operation. And the difficulty is, of course, with terrorism, you're fighting phantoms.
Let me begin with you, Senator Dodd. When we spoke on Sunday, when I interviewed you on Sunday on Late Edition, you made the point that the President's National Missile Defense Shield was not really targeted at the real threat facing the United States. What you said you worried much more about was a terrorist attack against a U.S. target, specifically in New York. Was someone asleep at the switch?
Unbelievable.
You have a full-scale military operation. And the difficulty is, of course, with terrorism, you're fighting phantoms. You have a full-scale military operation.
Unbelievable.
You have a full-scale military operation.
Unbelievable.
Between 15 and 20 terrorists commandeer 4 aircraft and 3 airports and attack 2 major targets in the United States. How does that happen? And today is not the day to raise that question specifically.
Unbelievable.
You have a full-scale military operation. And the difficulty is, of course, with terrorism, you're fighting phantoms. You have a full-scale military operation.
Unbelievable.
You have a full-scale military operation.
Mary Christopher, once the U.S. government learns specifically who is responsible for these attacks today against targets here in the United States, what should President Bush do?
Well, you obviously have to take very strong action. Wolf, I think we have to focus not only on the direct perpetrators, but those who support them, as well as perhaps those who give a place to them. The United States cannot sit back and just try to find out who the people on the firing line here in the United States were. We have to find out where the support came from, who might be harboring them in the future. I worry a little bit that the bin Laden solution is too glib, too easy for us. We have to get deeper. We have to drill down and find out what has really happened here, what violated our security, why we had so little intelligence about the whole big issues ahead of us. All the old issues, I think, are going to fade until we resolve this particular problem. The bin Laden solution is too glib, too easy for us.
Unbelievable.
You have a full-scale military operation. And the difficulty is, of course, with terrorism, you're fighting phantom. You have a full-scale military operation.
Unbelievable.
The bin Laden solution is too glib, too easy for us.
Unbelievable.
You have a full-scale military operation.
Unbelievable.
You have a full-scale military operation.
Unbelievable.
Because ending your own life is not something the average person does.
You have a full-scale military operation.
Unbelievable. Unbelievable.
You have a full-scale military operation. You have a full-scale military operation. You have a full-scale military operation.
Unbelievable.
You have a full-scale military operation. You have a full-scale military operation.